Alright, in this video we're going to take a look at inserting the doors and the windows into the exterior wall, and as well taking a look at the interior spaces. We're going to take a look at adding the cabinets, appliances, and other fixtures. And on the interior, you'll see we also have some bedroom, bath, and closet doors we need to insert. And basically finish off with some stairs and railings for the front and the back porch. So first, let's take a look at adding our openings into the wall component so that we could insert our doors and windows. Let's take a look at that. Alright, so this is where we're at. In this step, you can see that I have the XREF on. I've got my wall component on with no openings. Again, you want to be able to use the layer palette here so that we can turn off and on model information. You can see here we've got our roof. If I go ahead and turn that off, you can see we have the interior walls there too, which are also on a layer that we can control. Let's make sure that they are on that layer correctly. Okay, so let's take a look at making the openings. I would recommend that you create all the openings first, and then do that by using the tape measure to find and size the opening, create the opening profile, and then copy it to all the other faces. Then you can push all at once all the openings. Let's take a look at that. So with the XREF visible here, you can use your display styles, whether you're going to use X-ray or if you wanted to use back edges. But try to keep it simple. Make sure that you turn off any layer information that's not necessary, such as your floors, okay? And just focus on one particular thing. Okay, so if I take a look at my X-ray here, I can easily see where the openings are with reference to the floor plan. And of course, we've got basically two window sizes. So this should be pretty easy. Now notice that I'll be working in layer 0. Here's the wall component. Make sure you edit the wall component either by doing a double click or simply by right clicking and editing the component. You know you're editing when you can select individual faces and edges. Make sure you use Control T so you have nothing selected, okay? And as you zoom in, remember that you can use your model info. If you look at components here, you can fade or darken the model as you see fit. Sometimes you might want to hide the rest of the model depending on what you're working on. So these are dynamic settings here, okay? So I'm just going to make it a little bit darker and close that just so I can see my edges. Using tape measure, we can use the shortcut T. You want to click on the outside edge of the wall, drag along the axis, and you shift to constrain. You zoom in so you can click on the correct intersection there. As you can see, we are using the full width of the exterior wall, which includes the inside finish, the stud wall, and the layers of exterior finish. And this is the right side, and now we could do the left side. So just click on that previous guide, drag along the axis, you shift, and snap to the end point. Now as you zoom away, also you want to make sure that you're snapping not to these interior lines, but to the exterior face. And you're going to pull another guide up along the z-axis. All right, type in 6 feet 8 and then enter. So this shows you the left-right boundaries. Here's the top boundary. From this top boundary, you're going to create another guide straight down, and I believe this is 5 feet. So this here represents the general size of most of the windows, right? And you can see that my horizontal guides go all the way across the face. And what we'll be able to do is simply create just one profile and then copy it. So in order to be able to position it correctly on this side of the wall, all we'll need is just one more Or we could do both guides. So snap to this guide again, drag along the face, shift, get in close, make sure you're on the outside face. Once again, using that previous guide, shift and snap. Now, I'd recommend that we do all of the openings first. So let's go ahead and do our guides on this wall. So from the ground up, 6 feet 8, right? From the header down, 5 feet, and then from left to right. Now, position yourself so you can clearly see what is the outside, what is the inside. Here's the outside, along green axis this time. Come in and snap to the opening. Repeat for this side, and then your second window over here. Stay along the axis with shift, and make sure you zoom in so you can see where you're snapping. Don't snap to the inside. Your lines will not meet and they will not cut an opening. All right, let's go ahead, and also we should go ahead and do the openings for the doors. So on this back face, we'll go ahead and make the door opening. Once again, I'm just using the outside edge of the wall there, making sure that I pull a guideline along the axis and zooming in to make sure I snap to the outside face there. And here's the left side opening. Now doors are going to be open all the way down to the bottom of the wall. So here we just need to show the header height, which is going to be also 6 feet 8 inches. All right, so last wall right here, and the difference here is, remember, we have two windows side by side. Both of them need an opening, and then the kitchen window here is a different size. So let's start with that one. From the outside, pulling along green axis, let's create the left side opening, and then we'll do our right side opening. Make sure you snap to the axis and hold shift to make sure we constrain it. Okay, now from the face coming up along Z, 6 feet 8 inches. Now here the kitchen window is only 3 feet, okay, but we have the double windows on the right side here which are 5 feet. So I'll just create two guides there. And then once again, let's do the left and right edges for both the windows here. And as we go along, you can see you want to snap to this line right here. You can see this geometry represents the frame of the window. And here's the second opening. And then finally, its edge. Oh, we didn't pull that one. Let's try that again. So shift, make sure we snap to the very edge there. So here's the location and sizing for all the window openings. Again, we have most of the windows are the same size. So now, keep in mind that I'm still working on layer 0. Now I'm using rectangle to snap. You might need to position yourself so that you see nothing else behind your guides. Here I have an intersection and intersection. Now watch this. If I go back to select and I do double click, I select both the face and the edges. If I do Control C now, it's copied to my clipboard. So as I go along here, you'll notice when I do Control V, here's the same profile, right? Same exact size. And I just snap to one of the intersections. So let's go along and do all our openings for the same size window here. So now I'm on a different face, but watch this. When I do Control V and paste, you'll see the profile align with the face of the wall. Make sure you snap to the intersection there. Again, Control V for paste. Now, here, all we need to do is simply trace this boundary, and we could use our rectangle again. All right. How do you know that it's drawn correctly? Well, if you switch back to selection, all right, as you select the face, you should see the boundary edges. All right. The final face here, Control V to paste. Line it up with the intersection there. Once again, Control V to paste. And then over here, we've got slightly smaller windows. So let's just go ahead and use our rectangle tool. Now, you'll notice again the separation of the faces. Use Control T to deselect. If I use P for push, now what I'm going to do is make sure that I can highlight the correct surface, left click, push into the wall, and wait to see on face. Also, double check on the bottom right hand side, you'll see the actual dimension, right? It should be something like 7 1/4. So that's one push. To create the rest now, all I have to do is double click. So turn in orbit, because these are all the same thickness. All I need to do is repeat the push-pull. All right? So that's 7 1/4 all the way around. And now we should see, oh, here's our back door, which means we should also do our front door. Okay? Now, I didn't create the guidelines there, but we can easily put that in. Let's do the left side first, and then we could do the right side. And then once again, trace. Okay, so with rectangle from one corner, intersection, down all the way to the bottom of the wall there. Make sure we use selection so you can see that they're separate surfaces. And push-pull, double-click, and it should be the exact same thickness. So now we've got all the openings, right? Go back to selection mode, Control-T to make sure you have nothing selected. Notice that I'm still editing the wall component here. Now I'm going to remove all of my construction lines there. Okay? All at once. Now, I'm still working in layer 0. And so now what I want to do is refer to my components library. Again, you want to make sure that you've saved your folder as a favorite. You should be able to see your selection at the bottom there. And then as you scroll through your list, look for all the doors and windows to be used in the exterior wall. Okay, so here's your main window. And you can see again, as you bring it close to your model face, right? It should orient automatically to vertical faces. The insertion point, the point where it's aligned with your crosshairs, should fit perfectly into the openings. Now I believe this one might be the smaller one, the kitchen one, so let's move over here to this face. Okay, position yourself so you see nothing but that opening edge, right? And make sure that it gets aligned properly. Now this doesn't look right. Let me do a different one here. This might be, oh, here it is. That's the W2. These are the left and right ones for the face that we're on right now. Here's the smaller window, W1. So let's use that one. So actually you can see how easy it is to switch your selection just by going back over to the components library and selecting a different component before clicking on your model, right? So this is the appropriate one. I'm gonna make sure I snap over here to the bottom right. And as I pull back, you can see it's perfectly sized. Now again, you can see it's still on layer 0, but we'll come back and put everything on the correct wall. Let's bring in this right side one. Oh, that's not the right one. Let's scroll through. Here they are. Here's W2, W2, left and right. All right. There's that one. And then we have this one. You might need to actually zoom in there, get in there really tight, really close, so you can place it correctly. All right. And then we have our other W2s here. Now, you'll notice that these have some guidelines that are visible here. And that's okay, because what we can do later is just use our display style to hide the guides. So it's not necessary to delete them. You can also put them on separate layers so you don't see them. Okay, so we got a couple windows here, and then we'll do the doors. Make sure you snap right to that intersection and that you're still within the wall component. All right, so back here we've got a door, which we're going to use. Let's see, here's the door glass panels. We'll just use the same door for the front and the back. All right, later we'll have some discussion about how we can customize our door designs. Here's the front. And then what you should do, once you have all your components in there, you can see right now I have the last component selected. I'll switch back to selection by using the space bar and use shift to select additional components. These are all the doors for the exterior wall. So now I can drop it onto the door layer. Okay? And then I'll go back and select my window components. Make sure that you only select window components, right? And you could do this by making sure nothing is behind your component when you select it, and you shift to add it to your selection. So you can see how I'm just orbiting around to make sure I don't select anything else. Also, you'll see in your entity window the number of components selected. So I have a total of 7, right? Then I could drop it using this pull down onto the correct layer. So I should rename one of these layers here. That should be Windows. All right. Now, you'll notice as I exit the wall component, and when I select it again, you'll notice all the doors and windows, right, are part of that component. And the way that this is going to help you is it'll allow you to still focus your attention just on the things that you want to see, right? Just like the walls, or you want to see just the exterior walls with the doors and the windows, or maybe you just want to see the doors and windows by themselves. You'll still have that control. But you'll notice as you turn on that layer information, and then when you look at the wall's exterior, when you turn off that layer, everything else disappears, right? So this gives you lots of flexibility. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. We're going to turn off the exterior wall layer and turn on the interior wall layer. Let's finish up our openings into the walls by placing these interior doors. We have 2 different size closet doors, so just pay attention to that. And then we have the main bedroom and bath doors, which are going to be the same size, and then the door to the bathroom here from the great room is going to be a different size. All right, so let's take a look at that. Again, just working in layer 0 just to make it easy. I've frozen everything else, not showing walls or floors, just the interior walls. Here's the interior component. I'm going to double click to edit it. I know that I'm editing because I can select individual faces and edges. All right, now first thing I want to do is again lay out the positions of the door openings. We could do all the same doors at once if you like, makes it easier. Let's use tape measure T, drag our guidelines here, and then zoom in and make sure you're on the outside face, right? You're going to be punching the holes only on one face, so make sure you stay consistent and do the guides on the exact same face. Pulling along the green axis here for the right side opening, and then from the floor or from the bottom of the walls there to 6 feet 8 inches. Okay? Now, once again, just like we did before, you'll notice if I use rectangle, okay, I created a profile here, and to make sure it works, I want to snap or just select the face. If I double click, I can do Control C. Now, look at this. This is a different way to go about this, right? But the more comfortable you get with the display and manipulation of the model, the easier it's going to be for you to do this type of process here, making openings for your doors and windows. So take a look at this. If I go Control V, you'll notice now, right, I could just simply snap to the opening. You'll notice that it's laying down, but as I go closer, right, it changes its orientation. So even if I place it here, I can still use Move tool and reposition it. Right? And because these openings here, these doors are the same size, that's all I need to do. So I can save myself some time here and not draw every single guideline. Once again, notice here, here's the closet doors, right? Control V on this face, just some distance away, just to place it, right? Make sure it doesn't go into the other wall. So you might need to zoom out. You don't want it to go into the other wall. It'll be harder to move. But something like this, now that it's on the face, then you could snap to the edge and drag it. Okay? The reason is because you have the edges and the faces selected. It's one object, basically. Now, you'll notice here, it's a little narrow. So how do I fix this? Again, Control T, because at this point, you're editing the component. You don't want to exit the component, okay? At this point, you go back to Selection with spacebar. You can select only the edge, and then M for Move. Now you can pick a base point, the end point on the line, and drag it along the green axis to the opening edge. And there you go, it's resized. Right, so I'm creating all these, I'm about to create all these openings with just one profile. Okay, one more time over here. I'll position myself, Control V for paste, right? Get it aligned somewhere, and then zoom in to drag close to the opening. All right, let's do the closet. Over here, Control V to paste. Just put it in there. Now look at this. I'll leave it right there, go back to selection mode, Control T to deselect. Select the edge here, type M, and now you can move. Snap to one side, Control T to deselect, spacebar to select, then left click to select the line and use M again to move it. Right? And then finally, there's this bedroom door. Actually, we have one more. So Control V to paste. Right? Get it in there roughly, and then reposition. All right. One final one, and that's on this side. Okay, same thing here. This is a little bit more narrow, but that's okay. What I'll do is just line it up. Okay. Again, Control T to deselect. Spacebar to select. Select the line, M, enter, and then drag. So, selection mode, select the line, M, and then click to drag. There we go. All right. So, once again, we're in the interior. All the wall thicknesses here are consistent. So, if I just go to push-pull, okay, we'll do one. Start on the face, push through, look for the offset limit, or look for the opposite face. Should give you an opening. Now, we come over here, make sure you click on the correct face. Here you can see, right? And double click, there's your opening, there's your opening. Double click again, there's the opening, turn around, double click, and then you could double click these two. Okay? Now we're ready to insert the doors. Once again, take a look at your components. Okay? Now, if we scroll all the way down, you'll see the bifold doors. All right? You've got a 60-inch one, and then you've got a slightly smaller one. Oh, these are named the same. Let's see. Okay. Now these are going to be a little bit tougher to place, right? Because these, as you can see, these are custom and they weren't designed to align with the face of the wall. So how are we going to get them into position, right? This might be a little bit tricky. What I would recommend is take a look at this. Notice how I orbit around and you can see in the area where the closet door goes, right? You can see the outside and then the inside corner. Okay? I'm going to place the door just right here. All right? Now, we can use our layers to minimize what we're looking at. For example, we don't need our XREF right now. All right? Just minimize what you see there. Now, as I zoom out into the model, okay, and as I use the move tool, notice when I go over the component, if I'm on the vertical face, you can see these little tick marks. If I'm on the horizontal face, you can see the tick marks there too. You're going to use them to rotate the component to align with the face of the wall. Notice as I go closer to the protractor, it's actually snapping to the tick marks on the protractor. Okay? Once you have it aligned, what you can do, you'll notice now, here's the inside corner and here's the inside corner, right, of the frame for the closet door. If I take that base point there and I zoom in and place it there, it's going to be a perfect position for that closet door. Okay? Go back to my components. Now I'll grab the other one. All right, do the same thing, just place it. Take a look at those tick marks, align it. All right, turn yourself around so you can actually see the corner edges. Snap to one edge and then position it to the respective point in the closet. All right, and there we go. Now the only other doors remaining, we've got the bedroom doors and bath doors, and then we have a different size door for the bathroom here from the family room, or from the great room rather. So scroll up in the components library here. Okay, I believe we've got, here's the bath or the bedroom doors. Now you'll notice with the bedroom doors, okay, that there is no hardware, and of course for a design visualization like we're doing, it might be necessary to show that much detail, right? If we're doing a detailed interior design. Later I'll show you how we can add these accessories. But also, you might be considering the fact that maybe you don't have these panel designs, right? Later we'll take a look at customizing actual doors and windows, and you'll be able to see how you can use AutoCAD 2D DWG information just the same way that you're using the model, but to create detailed component models. All right, so here we just want to make sure we can position it. So get in there tight, okay, and then make sure it's aligned. You might need to actually move your mouse around to make sure it's aligned properly to the correct face. Once you're satisfied, then you can just place it. All right, got one there. Get another copy here. Make sure it's aligned properly. And then you can do the next one. All right, here's the final bedroom door, and then we have our final bathroom door. Okay, so now if I exit the component, okay, you can see that here's the interior wall component, right? It contains all of the door openings and doors themselves. But one thing we need to do is make sure we go back into editing the component and selecting only all the doors. So just shift click to select the doors and only the doors. Make sure you don't have any other extra lines, and then you can also drop them on the doors layer. Now if you wanted to, it would be possible to simply create separate layers for that level of detail, right? If you wanted to do interior doors or exterior doors, all right? But we'll keep it simple. So now, here's our interior walls. Let's turn on our exterior walls, okay? And also, we've got our floors here, so you can see that. We have our roof, but I'm not going to turn that on because we're just about completed with the basic building envelope, all right? All we need now is to work with the porches, okay? And we also want to be able to add additional details such as the kitchen cabinets here and appliances and plumbing fixtures, and then also, as you can see here, in the bathroom. Now, by using the component library, all you're going to do is drag and drop. In an instant, you'll have the complete layout. Most of you guys that are doing design research may have different fixture or component selections and material finishes. That's fine. Based on your research, I'll be able to assist you in customizing each of these different design elements. All right? Just get all of the fixtures, appliances, and everything in there, and then we'll finalize our designs either by making different selections or replacing components or even customizing our own components. So, we'll take a look at this in the next video.